Hello, everybody. I'm Mario Linhares, and I'm broadcasting from Cabo Frio, Brazil. And this is SIPS of Science. We have another episode today to talk about uh, energy. We're going to talk about Mauntz International Symposium on sustainable energy production, fossil, renewable, nuclear, waste handling, processing, and storage for all energy production technologies and energy conservation. And with me tonight, I'm going to have here two guests, one from Montreal, one is a usual here, Dr. Florian Kongoli from Montreal, the CEO of Flogen Technology and also the president of Flogen Star Outreach and of SIPS, Sustainable Industrial Processing Summit and Exhibition, Sustainability Through Science. Good evening, Dr. Florian. How are you?
Good evening. Well, it's not evening yet, but that's okay. It's
Yeah.
Good evening for Tamer.
Yeah, when
Yes.
you watch this, it's
Good
going
day
to
to
be.
you guys.
But this has been recorded in afternoon in Brazil and in Montreal. But it is evening for our
It's
next
3
guest.
a.m. here. Huh?
Well, what time is it
3
there
p.m.
now?
3 p.m.
3 p.m. It's
Yours is
4 p.m. in
p.m.
Rio de Janeiro, and it's 9 p.m. in Germany, in Stuttgart, where Dr. Tamer Turna is. Good evening, Dr. Turna.
Good evening. Good day.
Yeah, good day. Well, this is an international show, so somewhere in the world where people are watching us, it might be morning, afternoon, or evening. So it's nice to have you guys here. I would suggest you guys, this is a joint production between TV Onda Azul and Flogen Star Outreach. And I'm going to suggest that you subscribe to the channels. If you're watching on Flogen, subscribe to Flogen. If you're watching on TV Onda Azul, subscribe it to the channel. Just hit your thumbs up on the video and subscribe and hit the bell so that you can be notified when we have a new program. And today we are going to be talking, as I said, about Mauntz International Symposium. And I would like to start talking to Dr. Florian, welcoming us and talk a little bit about SIPS, Sustainable Industrial Processing Summit and Exhibition, Sustainability Through Science and Technology. That's going to take place in Thailand from the 27th of November to the 1st of December. And Dr. Florian, welcome. It's good to have you back here.
Yes. Hello, Mario. How are you?
Very good. Very well. Thanks.
It's what temperature is there? It's 21 degrees Celsius here.
Let me check. It's 23 in Cabo Frio. Cabo Frio is 3-hour drive. I always mention that 3-hour drive from the city of Rio.
But it's in Rio de Janeiro state.
It is in the state of Rio, and it's by the coast, beautiful coast.
Yeah. What's the temperature there, Tamer?
Oh, we have got around about 8 degrees Celsius.
Oh, because it's night.
Wow,
nighttime.
It's cooling down.
Yeah.
And
well,
this temperature, we are going to talk about that very soon. Let's talk about SIPS first, Dr. Florian.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, this Sustainable Energy Production Symposium that you see on the screen, this has been going on in SIPS for several years. And you can see here that this is the 7th International Symposium. It's 7 years going on. Imagine the first one, how to produce energy sustainably 7 years ago. And 7 years forward today, we are at a situation where the energy is a maker or breaker of everything. The world is in crisis because of these energy issues. So you said, okay, we started it 7 years ago, and we treated these issues 7 years ago. We treated issues of sustainability in energy 7 years ago. We started 7 years ago. And every year we dealt with these issues. So probably if the politicians would have heard us, would not have been this crisis that we are experiencing today. And I mean this. Anyway, Sustainable Industrial Processing Summit, or Sustainability Through Science and Technology. It is based on Flogen sustainability framework. You showed the SEMA there, and then you moved it, but then you came back. So this is the key. The whole summit is based on this. And historically, this is our our trademark, our invention, basically is mine, because it has been since when sustainability was invented as a word. Yeah, everybody wanted. There was huge confusion in literature. Everybody wanted to put there anything they wanted, like indigenous right, culture, you name it, government. So everybody was putting in this box, in the anonymous box called sustainable development, everything. So you couldn't understand, are the criteria, are the pillars, are the factors. You couldn't understand anything. It was a mess, apples and oranges in one box, and it was confusion around. So then this was by necessity, not by just simply curiosity, but by necessity. We developed the SEMA, where we divided the criteria from the actors, from the pillars, and this clarified everything. The SEMA that you showed basically includes everything in this world, but divided it in criteria and actors. The criteria or actors or pillars. So the criteria are, if you can show the SEMA, are environmental protection. It's one. Social development and economic growth. These are three equally important. To be sustainable, you have to simultaneously fulfill all of that. Simultaneously, all of that. If you forget one, you are not sustainable. So if you deal only with environmental protection and you forget economic development, or you forget the quality of life of human beings, then you are not sustainable. If you do only economic growth but forget environmental protection, then you are not sustainable. So, or if you are saying, okay, let's deal only with environmental protection, but who cares about the quality of life of human being? You are not sustainable. If you forget economic development, you create the issues in the world like unemployment, that you cannot manage it. So at the end of the day, it will go to the detriment of the environment. So they are closely related. To be sustainable anyway, you have to fulfill them all. You hear even in political classes, various countries today, the terms or in different presentations, environmental sustainability is wrong. That shows the confusion. Sustainability is one. Environmental protection is one of the criteria of sustainability. There is no such a environmental sustainability. You hear politicians say, okay, we are for sustainable development, to create good jobs, to create to protect the environment. All this falls in this SEMA, but the way it is said, it is confusing for people. So these are the criteria. To reach those criteria, there are some actors that can help or hinder achieving the criteria. So there are people or organization or method that can hinder achieving these three goals or can help them. These are the three main actors according to us. That's why we divided actors from the criteria. The actors or pillars are science and development, science and technology, government and management, and education and civil society. Three pillars are equally important. There's a table of three pillars. One pillar goes down, the whole structure goes down. And where the energy falls, we're speaking about energy to come to the subject of what we're speaking about. So first of all, it seems like energy is just a governance issue, which it is. But if we do not have solutions, we can speak all day. All people in Congress, in Parliament, in Senate can speak all day long. And they can say, okay, the only thing they can do, they can say, okay, switch the light off after 8 o'clock to save energy. Other than that, they have no power if the science is not there. Science and technology offers us solutions. So if we forget the main pillar, we can speak all time, every day, and we are just making just lip services to the concepts. So the governance is also important, but it needs a solution. It needs various solutions and needs to help with science, to help with money, the science and technology to find the solution. And then management in an industrial company, you have to manage it properly. It's very important. So everything falls on that. But on the other side, you need the education to educate young people with science and technology to offer solutions. So, and this is so applicable today in this energy crisis. And Tamer here that He's a specialist. All his life is energy. He is kind of the king of energy guy. He has dealt with all type of energies, from the fossils one to the renewable one to the transitions, and we know each other for a long time. And uh, he has dealt with mainly, through governance first, so management of of energy companies. So he has been CEO of several energy companies, or now he's vice president of another energy company. So he falls in one of the major criteria: governance and management. Management, not governance in politics side, but in the management of the industrial companies, but also is related. But at the same time, it's technologies. He's very, very, knowledgeable of technologies, and we have been working together for technologies that say new technologies save energy, are green, save energy. Saving energy, by the way, it's a sustainable path. So it could be new renewable energy, or it could be existing energy and have a sustainable path. And so this is that's why Tamer is co-chair of Mauntz International Symposium, which we dedicated to Professor Mauntz. He's a CEO of another company. We have two CEOs here, and his company is directly and indirectly dealing with energy. He has a technology that saves energy a lot in different processes. As you see here, it is on sustainable energy production, and Tamer I can say is the main co-chair here. And the subject being covered are various different energies. So you have you have the subject one by one here. What's the difference here? The difference is that we have all energies together. If we don't have and compare all energies, renewable, fossil fuel, intermediate, the solar, wind, uh, normally other conferences are okay, wind, solar, a wind conference, and they come together, they speak about wind. There are some other conference about solar energy. They speak about solar energy, but there is no conference like us where all energies are there. And if you don't have all energies in one roof, you are isolating yourself, and you are in terms of the managing the business and managing the government. Uh, you have to know all these technologies. If you don't know them, this is where we are. We have all the technologies here. So that's for my part to make the background, and now I leave it up to you and Tamer to go more in detail. I just
Yeah,
did the framework.
and ahead during this program, I would like to talk about uh, this approach on the sciences and technologies and innovations, and even humanities that are together in SIPS. But I would like to welcome uh, uh, Dr. Tamer Turna, and that's how I pronounce Turna, right?
Correct.
Turna.
Yes, true. Yeah.
Yeah, Tamer Turna, and one of, as you said, one of the greatest specialists in energy. When we talk about energy, you can say that he's one of the most relevant opinions about energy, because he has an MSc and a PhD in this area, and he's the vice president of Karadeniz Holding AS, and
He
which
was.
the world's largest floating type power plants and LNG terminals fleet owner and operator. And he's been on the board as CEO and board member of companies like, correct me if I'm wrong with the pronunciation, I'm sorry, but Stromer Zegung, Caterpillar Power Ventures, Borussian Systems, Eon Energy Projects. I mean, it's a big list. The full biography is going to be is listed here on the description of the show. But an amazing biography. It's really outstanding, and I would like to welcome and thank you very much for being here tonight and talking to us about this fundamental issue nowadays, these fundamental subjects. And we've just come out from the world's biggest crisis in terms of sanitary in sanitary aspects in the last 100 years, and now we might be going to the biggest energy crisis
We
in
are
many
already.
decades. So
We
it's
are
a
already.
pleasure having you here. and to be able to listen to your opinion, Doctor. Welcome.
Right. Thank you, Mario, for your nice words. And thank you very much, Dr. Florian Kongoli, for having me here today and for the, let's say, broader picture that you brought to the floor today. And I'd like to start by touching point from where you started, your nice words. In fact, we are now performing this symposium now since 7 years, and that goes back to 2015. And 2015 is a very critical year in humankind history. It was the year when the COP25 took place, which is the Paris Convention for combating climate change. In fact, climate change, that means temperature rise. And the idea of that COP25 accords was to limit by the end of the century, that means 2100, so within the next 68 years, to keep the temperature with a maximum rise of 1.5 degrees Celsius. But unfortunately, bad news comes first. We will not make it. We are having already a much higher incline in the temperature, and we will not make it. So taking precautions and bringing in new technologies has become vital to keep our planet alive in the shape, in the type of let's say living that we are used to in moderate temperatures, at least on an average basis. And because of that, I would like to share with you my latest news. I have joined now Bloom Energy, which is an American company, as their senior advisor for the German-speaking countries, and that's why I'm back in my hometown where I was born in Stuttgart, located here, and we are now progressing the product of hydrogen production via electrolyzers and also the fuel cell technology, which is at the moment the highest electricity and heat generation technology available in the world. So working for Bloom, I'll be presenting this year at SIPS 2022 a bunch of new technologies, and having that background of 32 years in the energy sphere, having worked for German conglomerates, US conglomerates in the energy sphere those years, it's nice to contribute with a broader picture and with a deep know-how in all type of conventional and renewable energy generation technologies. Now, when it comes to sustainability, there are some mega trends now on the world, and the mega trends are sustainable energy production, decarbonization. These are the mega trends. And so that means that Europe and the United States and most of the United Nations registered countries are targeting to reduce their carbon combustion, carbon utilization technologies. That means less coal production, less coal-based power production, and even less natural gas-based power production. And the target is in many European countries to switch totally over to hydrogen utilization. So today I would like to touch base of this new mega trend, decarbonization, hydrogen generation, and also utilization of natural gas by splitting it into carbon and hydrogen. You know, methane, which is the primer content within natural gas, means CH4. So you have one carbon bound to 4 atoms of hydrogen. And there you go. If you split it and then you oxidize the hydrogen, which is 4 atoms, you are already processing hydrogen and oxidizing it with a result of getting water as a final product in your downstream exhaust, let's say, line of your process. So the fuel cell technology is an and that's when I now would like to kind of get into some technologies that take part in the decarbonization sphere. Fuel cell technologies are at the moment the highest efficient ways of processing carbon-based or hydrogen-based gaseous fuels. So if we take as an example natural gas, the solid oxide high temperature fuel cell technology can generate, as per ASME metering standards, electricity with an efficiency of 65%. Now, if we compare this with gas turbines, the highest efficient ones, simple cycle, are somewhere in the ballpark of 35% only. If we compare this with simple cycle gas engines, reciprocating type engines, natural gas fueled as an example, the efficiency lies somewhere around 45%. So the fuel cell processing technology is just a brilliant case to generate electricity. And the beauty, especially in the solid oxide fuel cell, and here I have to also name my company, Bloom Energy. The beauty is that the entire wasted energy left behind after having a very high efficiency based electricity production is all in the exhaust air. And I didn't say exhaust gas, as you see. I did say exhaust air. And the reason is simple. In the fuel cell processing, you do not have emissions in the forms that you would have with gas turbines and gas engines. You have water as an outcome of the process, and you have a little bit amount of CO2 as an outcome because of the high electrical efficiency, and no NOx, no unburned carbons, no VOCs. And guess what? You don't even need a chimney because the exhaust air is judged as an outcome of the machine that you could just simply release into the environment without any additional processing. But what we have done in addition to this is, because CO2 is a very valuable material, you use it in the food and beverage sector, you can segregate it, you can recover it from the exhaust air. And thanks to that there is no other, let's say, emissions and dirt in that exhaust air, the amount of efficiency in segregating CO2 is also very, very high. So fuel cell, that's the future. The future is already today. Bloom has 700 megawatt and plus references globally, 15,000 modules, 6 million cells, and they are all 7/24 monitored. So the information flow is brilliant. And the nice thing is about this company that the founder is a NASA scientist. Dr. K.R. Sridhar did invent this fuel cell technology within his task to generate a power generation technology for the Mars mission. And after certain years, and 10 years ago, he then made a spin-off of this NASA technology and established this US headquartered, San Jose, California headquartered company. And it's stock listed and this and that. So a beautiful endeavor that we are now jointly taking and to kind of extend our footprint globally and take our part in the decarbonization of the energy generation on Earth. And with this, I would like to give you the word back, and then we can come to all the other topics, of course.
I'm impressed because, well, as I said, this is probably the subject of the moment in the world. Yes, the issue that is amongst the most important right after the pandemic because of the crisis, the war between Russia and Ukraine, and the possibility that Europe has a very long winter. Yes. And when we started, you said that the temperature was 8 degrees in Stuttgart. Yes. And I was thinking it might be harsh this winter. How can we manage that?
Well,
Well, I'm in Cabo
Well,
Frio, Brazil.
yes,
I mean,
of course.
we've just come out from the winter.
Well,
It was
how
lovely.
you manage it? So they said only government will decide. After 10 p.m., no lights, no
No
heat.
lights. Yeah,
So this is
this-
how can the government can decide
Mhm.
without technology. That's the only thing they can do.
Exactly.
Right.
But
Well,
one
How
thing
to
that
save
I
energy? Close the light, close the heating, and this is only the power of the government when they forget the main point, the technology
exactly.
that Tamer mentioned. So if they would have, brought more money and incentive to develop this kind of technology,
Uh-huh.
we would not have been here at this crisis today. I mentioned if they would have heard us 7 years ago, we had the same subject. We would not have been here.
Dr.
Sure,
Florian,
sure. Dr. Kongoli, as you know, the greatest inventions have always made disruptive inventions were made under candlelight. So I'm very optimistic on this matter. So even if the lights turn off, this will be a challenge, and challenge brings struggle, and struggle brings motivation, and we make it
Yes,
again. So no need to be pessimistic.
No, not
it's very
pessimistic. No.
an
It's not.
optimistic
I'm not
view
pessimistic.
of
This
that.
is humoristic.
Yes, I know.
Because they should have heard us and should have put more money in new technology.
Well, the point is that there are too less engineers in the governments. There are too many, lawyers and this and that, and but we need engineers. That's the point. And scientists.
Exactly.
Has been
And Dr.
always
Florian,
my
one thing that
presentation about
caught my eye was that Dr. Turna said that this technology that he's now developing came from NASA. Yes, you said that's like a spin-off. You use this term, yes. And I find it very interesting. A spin-off from aerospace industry, because Dr. Florian usually mentions that SIPS, if you were to send a man to Mars or to another planet and start a colony there, you would have all the elements that make it possible, that enable it on SIPS, right, Dr. Florian?
Yeah.
And this is a proof how everything is connected, energy and aerospace industry.
So if you want to go, we don't think that way, but if you want to go send an astronaut, you have to think about, minerals, and processing, analysis, extraction, refining, processing, new technologies, nanomaterials, nanotechnologies, advanced materials, intelligent materials, technologies in medicine, because you have to take care of for the health of the astronauts. You have to take care of legal aspects. You have to take it, you name it. And this is SIPS. All these fields are a specific symposium at SIPS. So it's a 360 degrees, and this is an astronaut on Earth, SIPS in kind of. So you have it all this subject there, but all these are linked together, the glue that makes them together. And so this is unique in the world, by the way. But what brings them together is sustainability. So the middle is the spine, and the others are all the vertebrae around the spine. So basically, in order to send the astronaut in another planet, but actually this is figuratively, because on Earth we need the same thing. We need everything to be successful, to be sustainable. We need everything. So, and then when are all in one roof, the efficiency and the synergy is so high, so the speed of development increases considerably. So that's SIPS, and that's why so many cooperation between different technologies, different countries, different fields of science are developed in SIPS every year.
Now, Dr. Florian,
right? Yeah.
Linking two things that you've just said, what you've said and what Dr. Turna said. There are too many lawyers and few engineers, and you like to honor engineers and scientists and technologists. I'd like to show a video here about why engineers should go to SIPS.
Flogen meetings are unique in the sense that they combine science, engineering, and fun.
Here they talk science, they talk engineering, they talk technology. and indeed the very relations between the science, the engineers and the politicians. That is a framework which is absolutely essential.
It's very important for me to understand how interact, let's say, the science with the sustainability and the social responsibility.
I meet a lot of people, normally not used to meet. It should be nice to actually meet them and have a discussion longer with them.
And when you bring people together with different backgrounds and different interests, you create new technology and directions, and that's very important.
Been an interesting conference in which we had met and had interesting discussions.
We've had some excellent discussions, talk about things that need to happen, things that clients need that we have not done yet. There's some very positive developments going to come from the people that are here working together.
It has been very, very useful in establishing very successful collaborations that we have had. This, in my opinion, is very unique.
Very good results. I'm really excited and very happy to be here present.
More engineers are present at this conference. We have so many problems in the world, and engineers finally need some recognition that they are only possible to solve problems, and that also the industry becomes aware about that some business models will not work in the future anymore.
So you can see how different companies not only incorporate in their vision the sustainability of a guide.
I think it always helps to get new views of everything. Being a manager is really about building strong teams, and this is what you do here. This is team working, this is connecting.
Friendship of a chance you can work together. Wow, wonderful. If it's not, still you'll be able to learn more, the network of the people from different industries. It's this tremendous reward.
Summit of this type allows us to expose our effort to other engineers for criticism, for suggestion, for improvement. So it's a continuous scientific process that can, in my opinion, can only be done, in any case, can be best done by a summit such as one organized by this magnificent conference.
That's it. Sustainable Industrial Processing Summit and Exhibition. Sustainability through Science and Technology from the 27th of November to the 1st of December in Phuket, Thailand. So, Dr. Florian, engineers, science, technology.
Yeah, well, Tamer is an engineer.
Huh? Yes,
Tamer
yes.
is an engineer.
Well,
I'm
the only non-engineer tonight.
Yeah, but what the point I want to make is, engineer is one, and if you make an engineer to manage, the synergy is so great. So you know, it becomes really a success. So the most successful, you know, manager and the directors and leaders and CEOs coming from science and engineering, not too much from science, but better from engineering. So you know, this is the big link. You know, you mentioned only the engineers. So Tamer is an engineer. 3 degrees are engineering. So I am engineering and also in science, but that's 3 degrees also the same. So this is the best combination for me personally. And this is the combination in SIPS. You have both science and engineers together, bring together you. But again, we have executives because Tamer is also an executive. So that's why I mentioned management, pillar of government and management. So when you have executives coming from engineering, it's a strong, it's a recipe of success.
And at the end of this program, when we say goodbye to everybody, we are going to play another video about why entrepreneurs, why executives should come to
participate.
But it's a longer video. I didn't want to play it now, otherwise it would be. But at the end, you're going to have it, and you're going to have both links here at the description.
Yeah. Well, it's not too long. It's about it's the same. I think it's the same. Yeah, okay. So, but this is the combination. This is the success. This is the the success recipe for me. You know, when you have an engineering background because you have a science background, You have one pillar of sustainability, and then you are in the management. You could be in the government, but you mentioned in the government there are not too many science engineers, and this has been my my opening of in every single SIP since in the beginning. My opening statement has been only with the statistics, how many science engineers are in the government. And if you take all countries, 2%, 3%, not only government, in the entire, Congress or Parliament or whatever.
Well, talking about this, the
3%.
former Minister of Science and Technology has just been elected. The astronaut has just been elected senator by São Paulo.
In terms of statistics, how many statistics? 2%, 3%. So, well, if it would have been Germany has been an exception with
Merkel.
So Merkel with Angela Merkel. Well, she's not there anymore, but also she did some. Basically, I like to say this, but it's true. Actually, we cannot escape that. The entire political class of Germany, in terms of energy, failed. And it's surprising. I couldn't understand the others because I don't have science background. But Angela Merkel, as a physicist, I really do not know how she was also in favor of closing down all nuclear reactors. And the failure was exactly here. Closing down nuclear reactors. Why? It's a green energy, by the way. No, the only two things are waste and risk. But the waste of risk is science dealing with. Science can recycle sustainably the waste. Science can make it safer. So based on these two factors, you cannot close a major green energy production. And it's a myopia. Why? Because you are saying, okay, I'm going to close down everything, even nuclear reactors, but I'm going to import natural gas from another country. So if at the end of the day, the bottom line, that like we say in business, you gain nothing in worldwide, because what you consume here in the neighbor country, it's coal, it's coke. So the pollution there will be pollution of the Germany. This is not an isolated, you don't have a border in the air. So from here is Germany, and then the pollution from another country will not come to me. So at the end of the day, the bottom line is the same. Okay, take the risk factor. Okay, I'm closing down all nuclear reactors. Okay, and then what I'm going to do? I'm going to import not only gas from another country or fuel from another country, which the pollution is there, but I'm going to import electricity from France. France is all nuclear reactors. So if something happened in France, you are already gone. You are already dead.
Exactly.
So now, it is an amazing how an entire political class can fail. Besides one, which is very different in Germany. Besides, the Green Party, which is strange because normally Green Party are against everything. But Reinhard Bütikofer, the head of the Green Party, he was the only one against closing the nuclear reactors. And he warned all the entire political class. They didn't hear him. And it's strange because normally Green Party are in the extreme and they want to close everything. But not Reinhard. Reinhard Bütikofer, we spotted the guy. In 2011, we gave him a Frey International Sustainability Award. So we spotted the guy 11 years ago. And this is the guy that warned the entire political class not to close down nuclear reactors. And also he was for a smooth transition from coal also, in order not to, because you have, if you close down everything, are we sustainable now? We are turning back to coal. They want to open again, as Tamer mentioned before, that they want to open again the nuclear reactors. So where is the risk? And where is the waste? So we are bringing back again. So this is totally ignorance of the factor of science and technology plays in these things. So they forgot the technology. Politics it's a funny business, but also it's a pressure business. You need the votes, and then you have to satisfy everybody. But sometimes this is not sustainable. You have to be, and this is where we are today in the major energy energy crisis, which becomes also a political crisis. You have no idea. But that's what I was mentioning. Government without science. What are the tools of the government without science? Switch off the lights after 10 p.m. Switch off the heating after 10 p.m. Tell people if you heat the home more than 21 degrees Celsius, you're going to go to jail. So this is the funny thing that the government can do without science. If there is science, like Tamer said, for example, one of the technologies there, if you would have invested more on that, they would have the solution. We have not been in the crisis today. So
Right.
this is and we have mentioned all this 7 years ago in our symposium, and the political class didn't hear us, and here we are. Hopefully, this will be when our challenge will be other solution, but solution will never be outside science. Science, technologies offer the solution. Government can select, can improve, can manage, can with incentives, financial incentives, but without solution, without science, only switch off the lights, switch off the heating. So it seems ridiculous, but that's what we are today. That's all.
Yeah, at the end of the day, science brings the answers,
subject.
right, to the questions. Yeah, to the demand. Dr. Turna, do you think, as an executive and as an engineer, as a scientist, you're a PhD also. You have a PhD, so you've gone. You have long years in the academia. Yes. Do you think the leaders of the world take too long to listen to science? Because you've just said we are not going to we are not going to reach the goals for the year 2100. Yeah, so in the next 7 decades we might not reach the goals. Do you think it takes too long for the leaders to listen to science?
The average politician, of course, doesn't care that much about the scientific views. Unfortunately, the recent decades, populism has become kind of more the driver in politics and ruling countries. But when it comes to climate change, we see that now the world leaders have a consensus that there is global warming and that it has to be combated. So from that perspective, which is the most critical perspective today, climate change, there the politicians are listening. There are, of course, some, let's say, I don't want to name him now, the former president of the United States, as an example. He did totally disregard science, and he had that idea that there is no global warming, but everybody sees the reality, etc. So the results ultimately lead that politicians in the future must more and more listen to scientists. And then it all, of course, depends on the type of scientist they listen to. Is it a person or persons that are supporting sustainability and that want to keep the world going as it is since, let's say, billions of years? Or is it just being routed by scientists that have new inventions, etc.? Now, Dr. Kongoli has pointed out the evolution of the German energy market, and he addressed the topic of stepping out of the nuclear program, the power generation program of Germany. Now, I have my own thesis why that happened, and it is, during the Cold War, the Germans the public has always been threatened that nuclear power, Russia will attack them with nuclear bombs. So people, when topics come to nuclear, they were kind of the perception was boiled up that nuclear is bad and it kills. Of course, it kills if you don't keep it under control. But that's where science, process science, material science, etc., comes into the picture. And if you have reactors like in the United States, nobody's talking about shutting down the nuclear reactors in the United States. The opposite. The nuclear reactors will be the new reactors for hydrogen generation in the future. Because once built, the power generation cost is very, very low. Once built, you have such an amount of waste heat that you can use again to improve hydrogen generation in solid oxide fuel cell technologies, as an example. So the coupling of inventions and technologies also is a nice possibility. And the more these technologies emerge and prove in the market, within market-based, self-standing, let's say, conditions, the more also that the politicians and the people will find their routes, their road to the right pathway to combat global warming. So that's about this topic. Let's say in politicians listening to science, we can go on and on with this, but yeah.
Exactly.
I mean,
I mentioned this because SIPS has this characteristic of getting together academia, business, and politicians, isn't it, Dr.
And we have a video on that also. But I wanted to follow up a little bit on Tamer's. I don't know if you can get the video. Why politicians participate? You can show also. But to follow what Tamer said, not only listening for us, listening is just one part, to draw conclusions. But they have to, the science is not only to draw conclusions, not diagnostic, not to make a diagnostic of the problem. That's fine. Science should be a diagnostic tool, but it's just only half of the story. For us, science is a solution provider. So it's not enough, to say, okay, I'm listening to the science. Okay, good enough. But that's not good enough. You have to find a solution on science. It's not only managing or finding solution without science. And this is what's happening today. Today, it's very easy. All politicians say, oh, we're going to do a science-based decision. Sometimes it's a lip service. But anyway, let's suppose it's true. But that's not enough, because you have to find solution on science, solution in science and technology. Otherwise, it will be only administrative decisions or political decision, parliament decisions that are away from science. So basically what happens in Germany, this is exactly what is happening. What happened and is happening. So what did they say? We make science-based solution. Science says that nuclear reactors are risky. And science said that nuclear reactors produce nuclear waste. So we are based on these exactly reasons.
Yes.
And then we are based on science. But that's correct. You are based on science. And then, okay, up to this point, I take decision not based on science. Up to that point, I take decision, close them down. And the science is forgotten, out of the picture. And this is exactly what happened in Germany. So, and in some other countries, but Germany is. So when they came to the solution, they didn't think about science. They didn't think about this technology of Bloom that Tamer said. They didn't think of other technologies. So this was a solution, but they switch off science. But this is only myopia because you see, okay, science says it is risky. Well, sure, it's risky, but science finds a solution for it, make it safe, and sure there is a waste. Tell me one technology that is not risky, that doesn't have risk. Touch the electricity, you are dead. Does it mean that we have to not use electricity?
Yeah, true. Yeah, it's very true.
Dr. Turna wanted to make a comment on that.
Yeah, please.
Right. Well, yes. Now, if we touch again the topic of Germany, Germany has, I think, something around 700,000 square meters of a landmark. So if you have 8 nuclear reactors in such a country, then you have to think of the waste that you would have then to store somewhere over the remaining reaction time, which is 300 years. of the end product, etc., to avoid the nuclear, let's say, spill. Now, of course, countries like the United States and Canada, and Russia, they have huge amounts of space. They have locations where they can spot these wastes. So humanity, especially with smaller countries, smaller sized countries, has failed in collaborating, understanding the need of the other party. And then also, you know, when I was a child, I was also active in certain demonstrations, etc. And people were already in the early 80s very much afraid of this nuclear waste. So that topic had to be touched on time, and the storing inland or in a coalition with other countries had to be managed by those politicians of those years. And then what happened? Chernobyl happened, 1986. So ultimately, the idea of the threat of nuclear leak and death, etc., was suddenly real, because in Chernobyl, that time engineers failed to think of the theory on the law of the second law of thermodynamics and the increase of entropy, and then that was the end. As you know, they switched off the pumps with the idea that the steam cycle could sustain running the steam driven pumps and get the reactor cooled down, but then they had the problem to switch it on again, etc. So things happen, and in Germany today, renewable energy only contributes 2.4% of the total
2.4%, correct?
No, not more than that, 2.4%.
It's incredible.
And Germany's installed capacity, half of it is renewable energy. So can you imagine the amount of money that was put into this program with a result of very little? And on top, the wind energy and solar energy ideology, I want to say already, did hinder the other technologies to emerge. That's why Germany is behind the United States, as an example, in the fuel cell technology, in the electrolyzer cell technology, because the US, with its typical, let's say, full liberal approach, having a race among technologies in the market, made it to progress this technology much faster than the rest of the world. Well, okay, let's switch the topic and come to possibly sustainable topics and politics. And I mean,
politics is part of us.
It's part of the tripod. Part of the tripod.
So.
Yeah, well, I mean, all these subvention programs had also a positive impact. I mean, the subsidies made the wind power generation technologies emerge, grow in size, also the solar ones, etc. But at the end, of course, a full exergy analysis and the full CO2 footprint analysis has to be made to come to a real judgment. So, yeah.
Very good. Well, before we go to the next topic, I want to show another video. It's about the Mauntz International Symposium. And then I'm going to talk to Dr. Florian and Dr. Turna about what we should expect at the symposium. Okay? Well, that's it, the Mauntz International Symposium. And let's start with Dr. Turna. What should we expect there, Dr. Turna? What should we expect at the Mauntz International Symposium?
Well, the expectation is that, as per the program, the symposium will be touching the most critical topics in the energy sphere, which is sustainability with the top ranking, and all the related technologies that ensure sustainability, be it energy recovery, energy saving, be it improvement in processes, again with the same target of reducing the energy footprint in general. And then it will for sure address the fuel cell technologies in regards of alkaline PEM and solid oxide high temperature. Well, that is on the electricity side. It will address the electrolyzer cell technologies, again, PEM, alkaline, and solid oxide. And one of the other topics will be, of course, coupling of various technologies, integrating, as an example, waste pyrolysis, used to generate low-cost steam that would then feed an electrolyzer, solid oxide electrolyzer, and that steam, which is water, in fact, with that already loaded high amount of energy content, will have less electricity to be used to split the water H2O into pure hydrogen. So collaborating, coupling processes. It could be from a steel mill, the waste heat that could be used to generate steam that could again be sent to an electrolyzer to generate hydrogen, and the very same hydrogen then can be used in the steel production. So as you know, steel production mills consume a huge amount of electricity, and the same happens to chromium, copper production, and this and that. So many process related, and Sustainable Industrial Processing Symposium is the name of SIPS. So it's not only touching the energy part of it, but also the process part of it, because the demand, which is the product of a process, produces the demand on energy, which can be electricity, can be heat, it can be chilling. We expect that we will have nice papers in regards to tree generation, which is electricity generation, heat generation, and then via absorption chillers, the generation of chilled water, be it for climate reasons like air conditioning, or for minus degrees, below 0 degrees Celsius process temperatures for, let's say, freezing foods, and or providing chilled minus degrees Celsius for processes. And then, of course, because of the mega trends of decarbonization and hydrogen generation, you could expect that also liquefaction and air separation units with the aim of producing in liquid form various process gases, the topics can be touched. And this is in fact where Mr. Mauntz, Professor Dr. Manfred Mauntz, has his inventions in terms of metering various gas types, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, in air separation units, etc. So Professor Mauntz, I'm very sure, will address those process-related cryogenic processes and material outcomes, metering technologies. And here it comes. Hydrogen, let's say, generation is emerging in form of green hydrogen, gaseous hydrogen, or cryogenic hydrogen. So there is a huge potential also in the metering and measurement technologies, because more and more we have to go into the ppm and even smaller sizes of, let's say, measurements to totally have the right set of information and process it for the correct aim and target that you would let's say, target to produce.
Perfect, perfect. And Dr. Florian, before you comment on that, I would like to add to your.
Then I'll forget. I have to follow.
Okay, so go ahead. Go ahead.
What Tamer said is something very important. So energy is energy, but energy is not isolated. Energy touches everything. So this is why energy is SIPS is so important. So producing energy, but what are you going to do with energy? You're going to use it in a different process. We have a process. We have ferrous, non-ferrous. We have all type of technologies, and at the same time, not only processes but energy is coming. And now today, nanomaterials and nanotechnology is being used as a mean to develop a new type of energies. So, but if you do that isolated apart, and you don't have the synergy, and you don't have everybody in one roof, then you're missing something. And exactly as Tamer said, so the byproduct of one process could be used to produce energy, and vice versa. Energy produced there can be used to dissociate water into hydrogen and oxygen. By the way, there's another paper in the program about this. It's another association that is dealing extracting hydrogen from pure water. So there are so many new technologies in SIPS being presented this time, and this synergy makes it. Energy is a specific issue, but it's not isolated. Energy cannot stand alone without other where it will be applied. So this is what SIPS is about.
Very good. And I want to ask you another question. Before that, I'm going to show another video here. And the question is about that P of SIPS. I always mention that P of SIPS stands for paradise. And I'm going to show here Phuket. Phuket is one of the most exquisite, one of the most beautiful venues in the world for a symposium. And the question, I want you to go thinking about this, is the importance of being in paradise and to stimulate this interaction between scientists, businessmen, business people, and politicians. Well, that's it. Sustainable Industrial Processing Summit and Exhibition, Sustainability Through Science and Technology. And Dr. Florian, that P stands for paradise, not for processing, doesn't it?
Well, that's your
I always say that because
your
it's true.
Definition, but that's true. So this is your invention, your determination. So of the meaning of the P. Yeah, well, that's a long story going back. Still, if we go to the three pillars of sustainability and the three criteria, one of the criteria is quality of human life, quality of human life. And what's happening with that? In engineering field, the quality of human life is the perception of the quality of life of scientists and engineering is very low in the society. So the scientists and engineers are looked at like a horsepower, like working like horses, and credited or paid like mouses. So there is no life in science and engineering; it's just work, and that's why a number of scientists and engineers in many countries has been going down. And then we are fighting against that, and because in the world perception is important. You cannot. So unfortunately, perception is the one thing in politics, in everywhere. So people see only the TV star, movie stars in 5-star hotels, and they speak much better than scientists about environment. So people hear more movie stars and TV stars about environment and the solution than the scientists. So this is a paradox that exists. So anyway, so this is the people. That's why people have this impression that science is just boring life, but good successes, but boring life. Sometimes they forget even successes. They forget that having an iPhone or a mobile phone comes from mining, comes from extraction, from new materials, comes from glass, come from, and all this have to be developed. New renewable energy comes from the basis. Look at the paradox. Green, we have to be green, and then we have to develop the wind turbines. Hopefully, they will be more energy efficient in the future. But it comes from materials.
Yes.
So, but at the same time, they say, okay, we do not need mines anymore. We don't need any new metals anymore. We don't need this because we need to be green. But the green is coming from the mines, the new materials, the new things. So this is a paradox of people, flying without bases in the ground. Scientist engineer cannot fly really easily because it's a paradox. You cannot say, okay, I need to develop I will develop wind turbines. Today, Tamer said it's 2% of energy in Germany because they are not efficient. And how to do the efficient? It comes from new materials. Where come new materials? Starts from mining, starts from extraction, starts from developing new advanced technologies. So you cannot close this and demand green energy. It's impossible. It's a paradox. And that's what we are living every single day. So this is the importance of science engineers. This is the scientists deserve the best places in the world. That's why we choose the best places in the world for SIPS, because they deserve it. Sure, we go 5-star hotels, but the 5-star hotel they pay. We have a good deal as a gift of science engineering. They pay very cheap. We have a very good deal. For example, in Phuket, it's 5-star hotel by the beach, and the price is about 110 euros per night, including breakfast, or including all taxes, by the way. So you cannot find it, but we are good on that. Or that we have a good team that good deals that people can enjoy, not only from developed countries, but any country in the world they can afford and coming. So this is you go basically in paradise with a very cheap, not cheap, we can say a reasonable price for because actually it is cheap, but then sometimes the definition of word cheap is misunderstood. It's not a cheap hotel.
Inexpensive.
It is inexpensive, exactly. It's an inexpensive, very inexpensive deal within it for that, and also it's a one registration fee that includes everything. You don't need to pay if you don't want to spend by your pocket money. You spend nothing. You have lunch, dinners, entertainment every single night included. That this gives an opportunity to have networking. Not as simple. Everybody speaks about networking. Drinking a coffee, having some finger food. Hi, how are you? No, it's every day. It's a dinner, sitting dinner, buffet or served, depends on the case. And then people, it bridges the difference between people, between countries, between cultures, between the field of science. Science is one, and SIPS is another story. SIPS bringing science and in one point converge the different field of science because it's under one roof. So this is the magic of P. When we are in a paradise, and basically we think that we have a good time, but also it is a very intensive time. And when you are in good humor, the new ideas for new development, new ideas, new technologies comes exactly at the same time. So this is the magic of SIPS. But Tamer can speak about this because he has been most of the conference. He has been with us and he experienced this, I guess.
Tamer?
Well, yeah, thank you for providing me the possibility to talk. You're totally right. I mean, I joined your conferences in Antalya, in Turkey, in Cancun, in Mexico, in Rio de Janeiro, etc. So great events and nice buffet, of course, and great people. And that's the most important. I mean, the talks we had during the day, during the conference is very interactive, synergy. I mean, I remember professor colleagues meeting there that are in material science and working in the field of containers, high pressure containers that can contain hydrogen. And normally CNG type buses or trains, you have containers, steel or fiberglass containers that have 300 bar. But with hydrogen, you need 800 bar. So we are lifting the expectation of material science further. And that great professor was briefing his explorations and his scientific research in how to control during production the material and the molecule setup to make it resistant to high pressures, etc. So these are very interdisciplinary talks that we are having there each time, and it's very amazing to have your whiskey and your cigar and talk about science and technology in a very nice paradisic atmosphere. I like it very much. Thank you.
Yeah, it is. And by the way, Doctor, you were saying that you've been to many SIPs, and it is the third time actually I have the pleasure of talking to you. One of them, just to show here, I don't know if you've watched this.
Yeah,
but this,
yeah, I saw this one.
You saw this one? This
Yes, I
was
saw this one.
The Artist of Science. I'm not in the video, but we were together in Thessaloniki,
Thessaloniki, Greece. Yes.
Yes. So here we have some things about
right. Yes. Oh yes.
So I brought this video here. I even suggest everybody who is watching. Dr. Florian has on Flogen Star Outreach on the YouTube channel and also on the website.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, this is Artists of Science.
Artists of Science, or not Art of Science, but in Flogen Star Outreach, you interview and you talk. You bring the human side of scientists. You prove that they are the real artists of the thing.
So this is we have about 30 videos, and many are on the editing process. But this has been also a very successful enterprise, because we know the scientists, and here we had Tamer as the choice to be an engineer. It was another question, so it's there. So these are very very interesting. And bring the scientists and engineer as they are.
And this is one thing you like to do, Dr. Florian, and I really enjoy it very much, because as you usually say something. When an artist says something, you say, Leonardo DiCaprio said this. But when a scientist, you say, scientists say. Yes.
Plural. Scientists are
anonymous. I mean, it's like an indefinite subject. You have no idea who the person is. It's like
there are anonymous plural.
Anonymous, completely anonymous. And you like to bring this. You like to show the human side,
the individual. That's one of the purpose of this.
So it's I know it wasn't in the script exactly. So but I would like to suggest everybody who watches us to go also and look for the Artists of Science. It's a special. You have some like you said, 30 videos.
Well, there are more. There are about 7 being edited.
Oh, great! So by SIPS you're going to have by the end of the year you're going to have like 50 posted.
There are 30 already there at the. They are all listed in the Flogen.org website under the button under the icon Artist of Science.
Very good. Well, but I showed this video because we're getting to the end of our interview, and just to say it was a big pleasure talking to you again, Doctor, and Dr. Turna. And I would like to allow you your final considerations about SIPS, about whatever you want, sustainability, energy. I mean, it's your microphone.
Okay, thank you. Now, the decarbonization is key, and all the people around the globe has to take the global warming serious, and that's why the decarbonization is key. So scientists as well as engineers and customers, consumers, which take it serious, the topic of sustainability, have to find their ways and select the right technologies to keep this blue ball, our Earth, going as it is. So in all our footsteps, we cause footprints, and these prints, all these footprints, we have to make sure that they are clean and that they are sustainable. And that means ultimately that we have to select the right technologies. Sometimes, of course, technologies that have kind of been judged as being harmful might be reconsidered because of the scientific developments in material science and material handling, processing, etc. So we still can look at our old boxes of solutions, but also globally there is a huge amount of research ongoing, which results with real sustainable productions of new machines and fuel cells, especially solid oxide fuel cells, because of the high reaction temperature of 800, 900 degrees Celsius, have the highest efficiencies in producing electricity, and vice versa. The electrolyzer cells, where you put in electricity and generate hydrogen, again, the electrolyzer cells with high temperature solid oxide technology, electrolyzer cell technology, have the highest efficiency. That means the lowest electricity consumption. So this on one side, but also the other technologies like PEM and alkaline, the low temperatures, they have their applications in the mobilization sectors like cars, like trucks, like trains, etc. So and these are both hydrogen processing or hydrogen generation technologies. It's all about hydrogen now globally. So that's the mega trend. So I kind of would like to invite to our SIPS symposium this year scientists, engineers, businessmen, inventors, name them all, to contribute to this new pathway for a cleaner, sustainable world where we can still try and reach our main goal of keeping the global warming below 1.5 degrees Celsius by the end of the century. So that would be my, let's say, closing words for this recording. Thank you.
Very good. And Dr. Florian, your final considerations, and I would like you to, if possible, I'd like to ask you, if possible, to include what someone that watches this video and thinks, wow, this is the kind of event I have to be in. What does one have to do to show his work at SIPS?
Well,
and your final considerations.
That's a very good question, because people sometimes feel like, oh, this is a good conference, it's good, but they see it like they do not belong to them. They do not. Sometimes they consider themselves detached. They say, okay, it's good to see, good to, this is a great initiative, but that's good enough for us. But it's not good enough in a general point of view. Everybody has to come to be active and participate. This is important. This is not just a show where we do a show, the others are spectators, not in SIPS. And this is a big difference. In SIPS, all are actors, all are solution providers, all are presenters, most of them, not all, but all the solution providers and presenters. So it's an active participation. There are some conferences, good, but a different style where 2 or 3 speakers speak, and there are about 100 more people else listen, and that's all. That's not SIPS. SIPS is active participation. All are active participation. Most of the attendants are authors, speakers, presenters, session chairs, part of a roundtable discussion. So it's a group of active people, not passive. And then we have a stage and everybody looking at the show. That's not a show. It is everybody's shows. They come together and present. So do not look it like an interesting show that you want to be. Please come and be a part of it. You are part of this big show. So you don't need an invitation. You just go on the website. We are still accepting some abstracts for a limited time. Feel free to submit your abstract. We are open to any theory, any point of view, any technology, we don't take sides in politics, in technology, or in any scientific point of view. We welcome everyone. There is no censor. There is no censorship. There is nothing that can you can think that, okay, I'll not be part of it because we don't know. It's as long as it's science and scientific argumentation and this all respectful, everybody has his own spot. Again, science is not, it's something, it's a process. You can fail, you have to fail in order to, no, there is no scientific discovery or new technologies that has been from the first try and then whoop, you are successful. That doesn't exist. So the issue is how long it will take, how many failures you have to have before you be successful. So there is an expression, you have to fail 10 times to succeed the 10 times, the 11th time. But in SIPS, since you have energy of so many different fields of science, and you have so many in a paradise with a discussion from the Nobel Prize winners to the famous scientists to students from 16 years old to 96 years old. So
yeah, it's
the chances that this number of fails decreases a lot considerably. So even if you come and present something that you failed to achieve, that's good enough. This is a scientific presentation. So the failure in science is not a shame. You have to fail to win and to succeed. So be part of the show, not a spectator of the show. Mm-hmm. We can send you an invitation if you want. You don't need invitation, but if you need invitation, we can send an invitation. About 500, almost a 500 presentation, going to 600. And from 60 countries we have this time. So be part of it. Don't be a spectator.
Very good, Dr. Florian. Thank you very much. And I would like to thank everybody who's watching us. I would like to suggest you to subscribe to the channels, both TV Onda Azul and Flogen Star Outreach. You're going to have the links down here. If you're watching one, you can just subscribe to the one you're watching and the other. And just hit the bell that is going to notify you. YouTube is going to notify you whenever we have a new video so that you can follow us, not only with the SIPS of Science, but with other shows also. And leave your comment here, your suggestion for other videos. Yes, who you want to see here from SIPS. Let's talk about science, sustainability, technology. And this is it. We are going to have now, I would like everybody to watch this video about why executives should be at SIPS. I'm Marlon Linhares from Cabo Frio, Brazil. It's a pleasure having you here. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Flogen meetings are unique in the sense that they combine science, engineering, and fun.
Here they talk science, they talk engineering, they talk technology.
And indeed the very relations between the science, the engineers and the politicians. That is a framework which is absolutely essential.
It's very important for me to understand how interact, let's say, the science with the sustainability and the social responsibility.
Yes, SIPS is very, very unique, different cultures and all the people together. So that industry, chemistry, physics, something like that. I'm just a biologist. So it's a very, very exciting.
The difference that SIPS provide is that the society here is a wide coverage of scientists, entrepreneurs, businessmen, engineers, and social responsibility related matters.
But here you see also mathematicians, biochemists, medical researchers, energy engineers. That is the extra part of the network we need to bring into this hybrid in order to harness the horsepower.
Deep work from scientists, the presentation, it's absolutely outstanding. I learned so many things and I still feel like a student.
The way people communicate, the way people connect, the way you get new ideas or new views of things is amazing actually.
Конференция создана товарищеская и доброжелательная обстановка. На конференции интересные уикенды.
Well, of course, it is a great honor for me to see the summit dedicated to 50 years of my research. However, it is also a great honor to many scientists, mathematicians, theoreticians, engineers, technicians, and so on who have participated and will be part of this summit. The importance of this summit is that it allows us to expose our effort for other engineers, for criticism, for suggestion, for improvement.
It's more focused on the people who made contributions to this area. It's a multidisciplinary meeting which combines everything with sustainability.
Much better than I had envisioned, been very well organized in terms of having the plenary lectures first, various streams in mineral processing, which was mine.
Am I enjoying the conference? Yes, I met some good people, full of experience. There is no stress, no competitors around. It's a pleasure, so I'm relaxing. Thank you.
I would say that it couldn't be better. Excellent impression about this symposium. The attendance, the hotel, the city, 7 Nobel Prize laureates. My first time I could meet one.
To minimize the use of the resources and to keep as far as they can the lowest path in their activities. So this is an important initiative and I'm very proud to be part this year of this symposium.
First of all, something to be sustainable must be cost effective. See if these new inventions that we see here, let's say, can be applicable and to give back to the business the profit, because this is what we're talking about, to be friendly with people and to give back to the society what the businessman wants.
The impression that I have is extremely positive. So many different scientific and technological leaders of the field. You really truly have a knack for getting so many of these people together. The impression is extremely positive. Thank you very much for inviting me.